Every day, we make around 35,000 conscious decisions, from simple choices like what to wear to impactful decisions at the workplace. But occasionally, our brains look for cognitive shortcuts, like using common sense or going by our intuitions. With the help of our past experiences and existing biases, we make decisions like we are on autopilot. Some of these are subconscious and barely have any consequences. But with crucial decisions like our finances, we need to exercise caution. Our brains are known to breed inherent biases, tricking us into making impulsive purchases, biased investments, and uninformed insurance decisions. In this episode, let's look at 3 commonly encountered biases. And don't worry, we will also tell you what you can do to smash them. First up is optimism bias. We often assume that we are more likely to experience positive events over the negative ones. Like being overly optimistic about not catching the new COVID variant, we justify our optimism with nothing will go wrong or it won't happen to me. In fact, research shows that 80% of the population exhibits an optimism bias. For example, people believe that health insurance is only for their 40s and 50s. Some are even okay being underinsured, assuming they will never fall severely ill or won't fully utilize their insurance cover. You see, positivity is never a bad thing, not until it makes us undermine reality and stops us from taking preventive measures. So here's a trick to smash optimism bias. Whenever you feel biased while making a decision, try looking back at negative events from your past or someone you know with a similar experience. Gain perspective by thinking of what you stand to lose. Be realistic about the things that can go wrong in your given situation, and you'll be able to analyze your next steps more rationally. Now, on to our next bias. Living in the moment comes naturally to us because of present bias. We give greater importance to things we can get instantly in the present, then wait for something better in the future. Here's a quick poll. Would you rather invest for a better future or would you go on an extravagant vacation right now? Invest for better future, right? Yeah, about that. People love to say the right things on such polls. Realistically though, we get carried away with our IRL situations and spend our money on something immediate. Similarly, we think we are young or work out regularly or don't need that health insurance right now. But with the kind of lifestyle choices we make today, youngsters in their early 30s are actually prone to many ailments like hypertension, digestive diseases, and diabetes. Also, bummer alert, over 61% of all deaths in India happen due to lifestyle diseases. Better safe than sorry. So how do we avoid being present biased? By actively thinking about your future self's needs. Ask honest questions to yourself. Am I leaving less money for my future self by splurging today? Am I sabotaging my future self by not buying a health cover? You can also start being accountable to your future self. Instead of paying a yearly health insurance premium, take a plan for 2 to 3 years and automate payments so that you can continue the habit well into the future. And for our third bias, picture this. Your dinner is ready and you're mindlessly scrolling through endless options on Netflix until you find yourself watching another Thanksgiving episode of Friends. Sounds familiar? Familiarity brings comfort. Familiarity brings assurance. Like buying insurance from that neighborhood uncle or investing only in FDs to keep the family tradition going. We all tend to make decisions we are familiar with. But the problem arises when this bias gets in the way of effective, well-researched decision-making. Buying health insurance may feel like a daunting task. You aren't familiar with the product, the process involved, or the people around you who have actually used their health insurance. As of 2020, 81% urban Indians and 86% rural Indians did not have any type of health insurance coverage at all. And over 80% relied on their household savings to meet their hospitalization expenses. So, how do we start making our own informed decisions? By starting small, with things we know but slowly move into the unknown. Always remember, familiar doesn't equal safe. You should also start building your own opinions on things. Do your homework. Look for credible information. Understand different types of health plans and see what best suits you. Take expert advice whenever necessary. This will help you be more confident when making a new decision. So, that's 3 biases covered in this episode. Here's a quick recap. Feeling too optimistic? Gain perspective by thinking of what you stand to lose. Instant gratification much? Actively think about your future self's needs. Still taking familiar decisions? Build your own opinions on the unknown and act boldly. When it comes to making better choices, we tend to get in our way because of how inherent these biases are. And that's okay. Here's to being self-aware and smashing them when we make our next important decision. Speaking of important decisions, maybe you should get that health insurance after all.